Am I the only one that thinks Persona 3 starts out like a porno? This is actually super off topic, but seriously. Them being so cryptic and brief indicates innuendo just as much as the fucking supernatural. More so, in fact, since Yukari and Mitsuru taking a slice of the protagonist is a lot more probable than, say, everyone turning into a coffin at midnight.
I
And
didn't
if the
think
game
you'd
itself
arrive.
has taught me anything, it's that the chances
My
of
name
both
is
happening at
Mitsuru
once
Kirija.
are not
I'm one of the
astronomical.
students who live in this town.
Anyways, on to today's actual topic. Persona
Who's he?
3 is fascist,
He's
or
a transfer
something.
student. It was a last-minute decision to assign him here. He'll eventually be moved to a room in the boys' dorm. Hey,
I didn't notice it at first. In fact, the game is really good about not keeping still long enough for you to think about it. I mean, as a game, it's about as interactive as watching an ice cube melt in your hand. But as a story, it moves along pretty quickly, and is sometimes really interesting. And to be honest, the interactivity is actually there. It just sneaks itself in so subtly that you don't realize how absorbed you are until you spend hours following social link paths, dicking around, leveling up skills, and grinding away finding Personae and Tartarus, trying to catch them all. But this isn't a review, nor is it strictly a critique. This is just me talking about part of the game's universe that grinds my gears and seems to just go about being accepted by everyone without question. See, the game has some filler and takes a bit of time to get started up, and all the characters dwell on stupid high school bullshit during this time, not the real issues. You know, like the demon apocalypse that happens every night, or the main characters blindly following the leader characters. Let me expand before anyone gets too mad, because there's a lot to what I'm saying, and I wouldn't call them blind followers just to get people angry. So every night, or every other night, or once a week, or whatever, you go to Tartarus and fight demons. They're called Shadows, but I feel they really don't deserve that title until Persona 4. Anyways, you go to the Leaning Tower of Howard Piece of Lovecraft, and start ascending the floors, fighting demons, and leveling up until plot happens. Or until you die. And, what? Let's break that down a bit more strictly.
I know how tough it is being the new kid. So wanted to say, hey, see what a nice guy I am?
You,
hey,
a high
you
schooler,
didn't say
a
anything
16 to
that
17-year-old
you
dude,
know what?
you go to this
You-
tower. Why? At the beginning of the game, you're not really given a reason.
Don't tell me you
I
forgot
mean, you were given an
already.
excuse this I can grant. Someone needs to explore
Seriously,
Tartarus,
don't say
where the demons are
anything about
probably
last
coming
night,
from.
right?
Mitsuru told you so. Ikutsuki told you so. Akihiko is even on board.
What?
Alright, but why are we listening to them?
How is he?
Why is it that you have to go, not like a bunch of men armed with guns and riot shields? Non-persona weapons can clearly kill every single demon you fight, and adults can stay awake in the dark hours just as easily as the kids who have personae. So why are we sending child soldiers in? What makes 3 high schoolers so much more effective than the tactical nuclear strike? My main gripe here isn't that the main character obeys, because it's like a video game. Of course they will. I could really easily refuse Mitsuru, Akihiko, or Ikutsuki's demands by playing a different game. And yeah, what they ask of you gets justified in the end, but it's an ends justify the means thing. There are a bunch of ridiculous measures you can take towards world peace or whatever, but most are too costly or evil to be viable. My main hang-up is in the other characters, especially the ones your age. With possible exceptions of Kin and Kuramari, who are too young and too stupid to know any better. But Yukari and Junpei aren't. Akihiko and Shinjiro at least have their own internalized reasons for needing to fight, since the demons are killing other people and they have serious protection complexes and shit. And they're old enough to join the army anyway, they can do whatever the fuck they want. But Yukari and Junpei are just submitting.
Now, strike back. Are you all right?
From a storytelling perspective, this doesn't wreck the narrative. I mean, it's as good as you'd expect a JRPG to be, and this doesn't take away from it. So I bring it up. Well, partially because it illustrates a point I'd like to make about the 2% of the games I've played, 3 and 4 naturally. And partially because it's my second video, and I'd like to make an early disclaimer relating to that point. I am aware that there is a gulf between what a writer writes and what they believe. This is no more evident than Persona, where grown men
Save
write
the
high school
details for
kids
later.
as realistically
See you
petty,
there.
self-absorbed, and homophobic, like they actually tend to be in real life. Luckily, all those facets of the characters are balanced out by the characters being adapted to change, sometimes nice or friendly
She's
beyond what's
probably
expected
busy
of
with
them,
things like
and in some
student
small, rare
council,
cases, exceptionally
unlike us.
heroic. And because it's grown men writing these things, it should be assumed that they write them with intention. Meaning that while Yosuke may come off as a frothing at the mouth homophobic mouthpiece of a homophobic writer, he's really the frothing at the mouth homophobic tool of a writer that we don't know anything about. To bring things back into focus, I don't interpret any statements on society, authority, or royalty in what Yukari and Junpei do or do not do. Still, I'd like to talk about what they do because there are points where they follow so blindly to be considered weak characters and barely protagonists sometimes. If Yukari and Junpei really wanted to help people, they'd stop bullies at their school, or they'd be good influences on kids from bad neighborhoods or whatever, because that's what they're equipped to do. Their lack of proactivity contradicts their motives, which leaves holes in their characters. An example of this, we get a major character later on by the name of Yuka, who's been bullied consistently, something everyone is aware of but no one does anything about. It's happening right in front of them and they have the power to stop it, yet they never do. The ethics here can get pretty fucked. They care enough to obey some vaguely authoritative elder, but don't care enough to stop someone from getting bullied. So, Yukari might be apathetic, and Junpei is probably too desperate for approval to fight the status quo. These characteristics lend to them being imperfect, but these same imperfections should lead them to not care about fighting the demons either. Do they do it because pressure is put on them to fight? If that's all it takes, why doesn't anyone pressure anyone else to stop the bullying problem? Fuka stops getting bullied eventually, when she becomes a main character naturally, but it's that passive trait that saves her, not any real action. A lesson can be learned from this mistake, regarding writing characters and how they interact with the antagonistic nature of their setting. Anyways, this bunch of kids is obviously not the best for demon slaying, but they're recruited by the bad guys, right? Oh, spoiler, the Kirito group were bad guys, but I doubt there's anyone who didn't figure that out in the first 10 seconds knowing who they were. So yeah, the bad guys need people who are easily manipulated and produce results, preferably for free. Who better than the apathetic and desperate youth of Japan? Well see, that's a great idea on paper, but there's a problem. They'd fucking die. I know I did at least once in my first playthrough, and consider the fact that it's only by small chance happening that the main character is even there in the first place, the guy who's the only reason the group can function at all, yeah, that'll make for one derpy evil plan. Not there for the fight where Akihiko gets injured, Yukari's dead. Not there for the fight on the train, Yukari and Junpei are dead. Not there for the end of the game, the whole fucking world is dead. But yeah, they do have him. And he is as integral as part of the mysticism as the villain. In fact, they're inseparable, so points to the writers for tightening that up. But he only stays there because of the authority figure's iron grip on him. Or is society's fault? Regardless of the reasons for such submission, the lack of any comment on it indicates a reliance on convention that simply feels uncreative. If Mitsuru and Akihiko, or anyone else, had been a truly inspiring leader with vision and goals, this wouldn't be as much of a problem. But as long as we're letting reasons to fight fall into our lap, instead of going out and pursuing them, the ends don't justify the means. And were I in such a situation, I'd be a ton less cooperative. As I said before, this does all lead back to the villain's error in recruiting teenagers, and they do rebel in the manner they should eventually, so at least it fails in the way you'd expect. But that's a toxic word for a writer, expected, and that's the error I find in Persona, spicy video title aside. That's just my stance on things though. Like, comment, and subscribe if you go with the flow, and I'll see you guys next time.